Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm really glad you're here with us. Now, usually we might start things off a bit lighter, but today's mission is entirely different.
Yeah, it really is.
We are focusing on a single, incredibly powerful piece of commentary titled, "It Takes a Special Kind of Courage." And, I want to be upfront with you, the listener. The tone of our conversation today is going to be heavier. It's going to be much more reflective.
Right, because the subject matter demands that kind of respect.
Exactly. We are looking at a deeply unsettling event that tests the very fragile boundary between institutional funding and independent truth. We are unpacking the firing of a reporter from Stars and Stripes.
Which is a massive flashpoint for anyone who cares about a free press.
It really is. So let's just jump straight into the catalyst of this entire conflict, because the event itself revolves around a single, seemingly obvious sentence that literally cost a journalist their job.
Just one sentence.
One sentence. The source lays out the foundational facts perfectly. A journalist at Stars and Stripes was fired after telling a national reporter, and I'll quote this exactly, "I work for Stars and Stripes, not the Pentagon, not any administration, not any policymaker."
I mean, when you hear that, it just sounds like the dictionary definition of journalism, right?
Right. But the bureaucratic apparatus didn't see it that way at all. They labeled that statement as insubordination.
Oh, yeah.
And they issued a pink slip. They fired her.
It's just staggering. And the source text really unpacks why this happened by looking at the precarious position of Stars and Stripes itself. I mean, it operates under the Department of Defense.
Right. It's fully funded by the military.
Exactly. But it claims this long mandated tradition of editorial independence. And what the text argues is that this firing test that claim in the most public way imaginable. It exposes this incredibly thin line between the expected loyalty to the military and, well, actual independent reporting.
Right. And I want to push on that paradox for a second because I want to make sure we're really capturing the tension here. How can stating the literal definition of independent journalism be a fireable offense?
Well, that's the core conflict.
It's like, okay, think of it this way. It's akin to a referee being fired by the home team, simply for stating out loud that their job is to enforce the rules of the game.
Not the will of the stadium owner.
Yes, exactly. The referee isn't saying they hate the stadium owner. They're just defining objective officiating. But the stadium owner hears that objectivity as a direct threat.
Because it is a threat to their control.
Yeah.
And the text builds on this dynamic brilliantly. It points out that the stadium owner, in this scenario, the institution, has very specific, very quiet ways of enforcing their will.
Quiet ways. Yeah, the source material uses a really stark phrase for this. They call it ugly power.
Ugly power. It's such a heavy concept.
It is. And the author details exactly how this power operates, because when we hear authoritarianism, we usually picture, I don't know, a cinematic villain, right?
Right, uniforms and shouting.
Yeah, people raising their voices, dramatic crackdowns. But the source describes ugly power as something that doesn't wear a uniform. It doesn't look dramatic at all.
Not at all. The text asserts that what this power actually expects is just quiet compliance. It's the expectation that you'll smile, you'll be a team player, and you'll repeat the approved institutional line.
You remember who pays the bills.
Exactly. You remember who pays the bills, and you adjust your words accordingly. You stop being a reporter, and you essentially become a soft extension of policy, like a spokesperson.
But let me push back on that slightly, just to ensure we're grasping the nuance the source is providing.
Sure, go ahead.
The text isn't necessarily accusing the Pentagon of overt, malicious tyranny in this specific moment, is it? It's more about this dangerous bureaucratic complacency.
Right, it's institutional nature.
Yeah, institutions just naturally prefer protection over scrutiny. They want smooth operations. An independent reporter creates friction.
I agree completely, and that's actually the synthesis of the author's argument. That is exactly why the reporter's refusal to comply was treated as an act of rebellion.
Because she brought the friction.
Yes. When independence becomes inconvenient or politically expensive, that is when the true nature of institutional power reveals itself. They didn't need to be cinematic villains. They just needed the friction gone.
And when a system flexes this kind of ugly power, it isn't just about removing one inconvenient reporter. That's what makes this so serious.
Oh, not at all. It's a broadcast.
It's about sending a message to everyone else watching. Which brings us to this massive ripple effect the source warns about.
The chilling effect.
Right. The warning is that every single time a journalist is publicly punished for drawing a line between independent reporting and official messaging, the rest of the media receives a chilling directive.
To remember who holds the leash.
Exactly. Remember who holds the leash.
And the text breaks down the inevitable calculation that happens next, which is just deeply unsettling. Because what does the rest of the media do when they see a colleague fired for stating they work for the public?
They assess their own risk.
They do. They calculate the risk to their own careers. The source points out that most will just look away. They'll soften their language. They'll choose the safer path of silence.
Right, and the text calls this the lie by omission, doesn't it?
Yes, and that is such a crucial point. You don't have to print an outright falsehood to serve power. You just have to stay quiet about the truth. That lie by omission is how accountability dies in a bureaucracy.
So this brings up a massive philosophical question for you, the listener, and the source tackles this head on. When everyone else is calculating the risk, when everyone else is softening their words and looking away, what does actual courage look like?
It's a profound question.
It is, because we are conditioned to view courage as something loud. But the source's exact definition here is that courage isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it is simply the willingness to accept the cost of telling the truth in the simplest possible words.
Accepting the cost, that's the key.
Yeah.
By accepting the cost, by taking the pink slip, the text emphasizes that this reporter reminded every editor and every producer what the job is actually supposed to be.
To inform.
Right, to inform, not to protect an administration. Because silence is exactly what power prefers, and she refused to give them that silence.
And this choice, this friction between courage and silence, it scales up.
Oh, absolutely.
It isn't just an industry problem for journalists to worry about at networking events. It dictates the reality of the society we all live in.
Which brings us to the core thesis of the entire piece.
Yeah.
The author brings the reader right down to the philosophical bedrock here.
Yeah, let's lay that out.
The thesis is this: independent journalism is not a courtesy the government grants. It is a necessity a free society demands.
A necessity, not a courtesy. That's heavy.
It's a complete reframing. The author gives this stark warning about the illusion of independence. If independent journalism only exists when it is convenient for the powerful, then it is not independent at all.
Right, it's just a performance.
Exactly. Truth does not need permission. It doesn't need department approval. And the text makes it very clear that truth doesn't become less true just because authority strongly dislikes hearing it.
Which raises the ultimate stakes of this whole event.
Yes. The conclusion the source draws is that this is not about one job or one single reporter at Stars and Stripes.
No.
It is about the standard society is willing to defend when the pressure finally arrives. The text warns that a society that accepts this kind of arrangement, where truth is fireable, will eventually discover it no longer has a free press at all.
It will only have, what was the phrase? Carefully managed messaging.
Carefully managed messaging, yes.
I really want to pause on that phrase. Let the weight of carefully managed messaging sink in for a second, because this is directly connected to you listening right now. We all rely on the press to navigate our reality.
Every day.
Every single day. If the press operates under this suffocating fear of retaliation, if they are constantly softening their reporting to appease whoever pays the bills, then the information you receive is fundamentally compromised. Your map of the world is altered by that carefully managed messaging.
It's a terrifying prospect when you really look at the mechanics of it.
It truly is. And as we look to wrap up this deep dive, let's briefly recap the journey the source took us on today.
We covered a lot of heavy ground.
We did. We saw how a single, honest sentence, "I work for Stars and Stripes, not the Pentagon," exposed that deeply precarious line between editorial independence and institutional loyalty.
And how it was twisted into insubordination.
Right, and how that act of firing serves as a stark, chilling warning about the future of a free press. It forces that choice between the quiet lie by omission and the rare, costly courage of stating the simple truth.
It really is a mirror held up to our institutions.
It is. The text closed by saying that this story will not quietly disappear, and we shouldn't let it. So I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to mull over as you go about your day.
Something to really sit with.
Yeah. Think about the news you consume every day. As you read your feeds or watch a broadcast, ask yourself, how often are those stories being subtly shaped by the invisible pressures of who pays the bills? And how would we ever know the truth if there weren't journalists out there willing to risk their livelihoods just to draw the line?
It's a question we all need to be asking.
It really is. Thank you for joining us for this serious exploration today.
Thank you.